What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna do a little online test to see if I have anxiety. I did a couple of these last year when I actually uploaded videos last year, and then everything got too much and I needed to take a break, and I mean, if we're being completely honest, maybe taking these last year wasn't the greatest idea with everything else that was going on. But here we are. We're gonna try the anxiety test. Alright, by clicking I agree, below you acknowledge that this is not a diagnostic instrument, and must only be used if you're 18 years older, etc. Yes, cool. Alright, I think we got the past 2 weeks. To what extent have you found the following things a problem? Let's get in. Alright, so there's only 7 questions for this one. Sweet. Now, normally I would also do this on my phone and sort of screenshot it, sort of thing, so that you could have like a little video in the bottom corner. But if we're being completely honest, I couldn't be bothered today. I'm just going to read you the questions, tell you my answers, and then I will show you on the screen. I'll turn the brightness down so you can see what the answers were. But 7 questions. We'll be able to breeze through this. Alright. I've been unable to stay in one place, like sitting down for any length of time. Been unable to. I'm going to go some of the time, because the rest of the time I have found that it's quite easy to just stay in my room. It's quite easy. My job's not until, you know, the afternoons, so being able to just chill out in here is sort of been my days. As sad as that is to admit. Number 2, I've been very concerned about several things at one time. We'll go much of the time for that one, so the options are obviously never, sometimes, most of the time, nearly all the time. We're gonna get much of the time there. When I'm at work, I'm like laser focused. If I've got like a thing that has to be done and I know it has to be done and there's like, you know, stakes behind it or whatever, like I am focused as fuck. But yeah, other times it's just sort of like the brain sort of just bounces between things. It's like, hey, what about this? And then jumps over to something else. And I'm just sitting there being like, but what about that other point you just made? Like, what happened there? So we'll go much of the time. I've been agitated, tense, or skittish. Isn't that just a general state of being? Like, I mean, especially last year, wasn't that just everyone's default state of being? Was tense, stressed. Past 2 weeks would involve the last week of the year, which is, you know, yeah, much of the time. Tension's particularly high when I'm at work. Obviously, there's certain ways things have to be done, and then other things where you can just sort of, you know, as long as you get the job done, it doesn't really matter. But the nature of my job means that I'm sort of in amongst all of the holiday traffic to the, you know, it's a coastal town where a lot of city people go on their holidays, because it's not really that far, but it's far enough away that it's not at home sort of a thing. There's been a lot of really heavy rain and overcast days. It's another one today. Yesterday was like clear skies, not a cloud in the sky. The day before was particularly heavy rain. So the weather needs to just like make up its mind. So between work pressure and between tourists, which I mean people ill, yeah, Number 4, I've been able to feel calm or relaxed some of the time. Like headspace for me is like one of the things that I've been working on for a while, and I've found that, like, meditation, my tarot cards that I've done videos for on this channel before, and then things like participating in my hobbies, working out, doing exercise, those sorts of things, where I'm able to just sort of channel all of my energy into a thing so that my mind can just sort of take a break, sort of a thing. I've found that those are beneficial to me feeling calm and relaxed. Problem comes when I do all those things in the hopes that my mind will just wear out from everything I've done that day, that I won't have time when I come to bed to think about everything, and it ends up being the only time I can think about those things, and I still end up with insomnia. But yeah, we're going to go some of the time because of that. I've struggled to control feelings of anxiety, agitation, or fear. Fear, not so much. I personally think that there's a difference between, like, you know, shock and surprise and fear. Fear is like being nervous just simply about the idea of a thing. Whereas, like, you know, if you're sort of like, I don't know, walking along, and little trigger warning for anyone who's arachnophobic, I'm gonna just pick that one because it's common. But if you're just like walking along and you happen to see a spider just like chilling out over there, right? He's not outwardly trying to get you, he's just chilling there because that's what he does. Like, yeah, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's a thing that's there that I wasn't expecting to be there. But that's like a shock, that's a surprise. I'm not like walking around being like, where's the next spider gonna come from? So yeah, I don't think I experience fear like at all. I mean, there's really only one thing that like freaks me out as far as like fear is concerned, and that's simply just the unknown, like the uncertainty of things to come, sort of a thing. That's basically it. But then I'm also the kind of person that tries to put in a plan of like, this is plan A, but then I'll also make B, C, D, E, and F, etc., etc., in case, you know, step 1 doesn't go according to plan. So, okay, well, we can immediately switch to plan B, because plan B takes off from if plan A at step 1 failed. And then it has, you know, it might have 1 or 2 contingencies, C might have a second one, and then after that, all the others are just like, if we get this far in plan A, we're far enough along that we shouldn't need to worry about too many things going wrong. So I don't really struggle with fear. I mean, obviously anxiety is in this because it's an anxiety test, and agitation. The thing with agitation is, like, yeah, agitation can just sort of be like the physical manifestation of stress, which is internal. So you can feel stressed out internally, but come across as agitated, if that makes any sense. This is just my perspective on things, by the way. And I think that through agitation, most people will act out in a frustrated manner, like the stress and the agitation will combine to make frustration. And I think that that's what a lot of people confuse for like anger, like, oh, okay, he acted out aggressively, he must be angry. No, I acted out because I'm frustrated and I'm trying to, you know, obviously I'm not thinking because I'm stressed, I'm agitated, so I'm acting out in frustration, it's not in anger. Anger is, I think, a couple of levels up, but in the same sort of a line. Like, if the stress just continues to build, you can start to build resentment, and then that can lead towards like anger and stuff. Yeah. And I think that really comes down to just emotions being complex. You know, like, you can feel happy and not be smiling, right? Because there's also like elation, which is the next level up from that. There's joy, there's, you know, contentment. There's all these things that people are just like, oh yeah, that's in the bubble of happy. But they're all different levels and all have different contexts. I'm gonna get some of the time for this one. Most of the time, I'm pretty good at, you know, like I've sort of, yeah, I don't know how to explain that one. I'm gonna go some of the time though. Step 6, question 6, whatever you want to call it. I felt bad-tempered, irritable, or moody. We're gonna go some of the time, mainly because it has irritable on there. And that, again, just comes down to like work stress, the weather being what it is. Like, we're supposed to be in the middle of summer, and before Christmas I had to have a COVID test because I got a cold. Like, just a common cold. Was a mixture of someone else in my family had a bit of a cold before, and the rain that I was constantly getting in and out of to do my job. So, you know, going in and out of the rain at night and then coming home and someone in the household has a cold, you're pretty much guaranteed to get it. But yeah, so I had to have a COVID test because I had a cold. I've still got like a scratchy voice from it. It's been about 2 weeks. About 2-3 weeks now since I had my COVID test. So like, it's just latching on because of this fucking weather. I would love for there to just be a week where it's nice and sunny. Maybe I have a couple of nights off from work as well. Like, just get rostered for a couple of nights where I don't have work, so I can just like go and hang out at the beach with some friends and just like, I don't know, watch the sunset or something. I think that'd be really cool. And then yeah, with the weather and stuff, you know, salt water helps to like clear your body, getting some vitamin D in, because God knows sitting in here is not helping. But I also don't want to be like sitting outside trying to get some vitamin D on an overcast day when UV rays are higher, because I'm not about that melanoma. Yeah, I don't know. Would be nice. So number 7 is I've been afraid or panicky about bad things that might happen to myself or others. I think this just comes back to I make plans about things. I don't know if it comes from a place of fear or if it comes from a place of I would rather not allow fear to dictate my life. But I can see how you could approach it from either end and still end up at the same spot there. I mean, look, we were, like, my friends and my family, for the most part, what do I mean for the most part? I don't know anyone that... So yeah, so my family and my friends, we're all pretty lucky to have gotten through 2020 with no one getting COVID. So I feel very lucky in that. And if we were lucky in 2020, which is arguably one of the worst years we've had in the last, 20 odd years, then yeah, I'm quietly optimistic that that nothing super horrible is going to happen to anyone I care about. If this is using others to refer to just like anybody, yeah, obviously bad things are going to happen to people. But I think this more refers to people you care about. I'm going to get some of the time. Finishes this. If you're doing this as well, I'm going to try and leave a link below. You can just press sorry, it was loading itself. You can just press skip at the end there. You don't have to give your email address. You can just press skip there and it will come up with something that looks like, I turned that down too far. Okay, bring that up just a little bit. How's that? That's better. Come up with something like that. So I got 9 out of 21, which translates to the upper end of mild anxiety, just shy of going into the low end of moderate, which is interesting. Now, somewhere in those tests as well, they say that they are backed by research and all this sort of stuff, and that those are the questions that, you know, sort of help identify sort of the most common symptoms of. Again, it's not a diagnostic test. You cannot self-diagnose with these things. However, it's interesting that it gave me sort of right in the middle of the breaks, like a 9-10 sort of thing, because I've actually been diagnosed with GAD, which is Generalized Anxiety Disorder. It's also known as, give me 2 seconds, I will look this up, because GAD as an acronym is like, yep, that sounds like something that is bad. GAD is bad. So let's have a look here. Where are we? It's sometimes also known as chronic anxiety neurosis, which is obviously a much scarier name. However, its acronym's a lot better. Chronic, C, anxiety, A, neurosis, N, C-A-N is can, as in I can and will beat this. You know, I can do better. I can move on from this. I can. And if that's not a mantra for life, considering that generalized anxiety disorder is actually pretty common, it's just not diagnosed the whole heap, because I think people just put it down to being like, you know, I'm just having a bad week or whatever, and everything's stressing me out. Like, if it starts translating into things that don't need to be stressed about, like just your day-to-day affairs, you know, like if you're stressed out at work, that's fine. Work stress is, yeah, that's a day-to-day, you know, that's just the whatever. But if that stress is going over, you know, flowing over into your relationships, if it's influencing your finances and like how you spend your money, if it's interrupting with your sleep, or affecting how you eat, then it's more than just work stress. It's more than just work stress. It's obviously not 100% certain to be generalized anxiety, but yeah. But so I've been diagnosed with that, with and there's like a family history of depression in my family. So I'm on antidepressants, 10 milligrams I think they are. They're only really tiny little things, and I only take one in the morning. And yesterday I had an appointment with a psychologist, so I am actively trying to beat it, and I'm certainly not at my lowest point. I think just sort of the way that I deal with things is when I'm at my lowest point, I prefer, and this could speak positively, could speak negatively to my character, but when I'm in a low spot, I tend to try and shut off from people. I see it as like the way that I choose to look at it, as I'm not wanting, like I don't want to be dragging people that I care about into my shitty situation with my shitty headspace. But I can also see how, like, on the flip side of that, it also looks like I'm just trying to shut people out and not get help. I am aware of that. I'm self-aware enough to know that, you know, my justification may not be how people perceive it. But yeah, so it's interesting that thinks that I'm only sitting in around that minimal spot. But that's still like, yeah, it's mild to moderate. It's very interesting because I have actually been medically there's that scratchy throat I was talking about. I have actually been medically diagnosed. Anyway, if you liked this video, if you thought it was insightful, if you are keen to take that test yourself just to sort of get a bit of perspective maybe on like, okay, things, you know, like if I'm looking at these things, I'm thinking about these things, these are the questions, maybe this isn't what I have, then you know, give this video a thumbs up. If you've got your own stories about dealing with GAD, or you know, if you just need to vent, my comment section's a safe space. Go ahead. If I can think of something that I think might be helpful for you, I will comment back. We can have a bit of a discussion about it. I am totally open to that. I don't think I have the temperament to be a psychologist, but I'm 100% more than willing to give a helping hand to anyone who needs it, if I think it's going to help. You know, I'm more than happy to lead the horse to water, but yeah, it's really up to the horse whether it drinks or not. If you're getting the metaphor there. But yeah, let me know in the comments below if you've got any stories or just want some advice. If you are new here to the channel, please smash that subscribe button. Don't forget to ring the notification bell if you want to be notified when I upload new videos. And that's it. That's all I've got for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. So until next time, guys, keep your head screwed on.